Thanks for buying me lunch, JD. A little cash light.
Having Dan here wasn't all bad.
So, Dan, you still living with your mom?
Carla, Dan doesn't live with our mom. He lives in an apartment that happens to be in Mom's attic. Yep, nothing makes my life seem less crappy than hanging out with my loser bro. I mean, sure, there's lots of bats up there, but that's because there's no air conditioning.
Bats like heat?
Musty heat, yes. Good question, Turk.
Thanks.
How come you don't point out when I ask good questions?
Because I don't love you like he does.
Told you.
Actually, JD, I just bought my own house.
How could you afford to do that on a part-time bartender's salary?
I flip houses for a living now. Turns out I'm really good at this real estate stuff. Probably because it involves not a small amount of lying and doublespeak.
Well, if you're doing so well, how come you made me buy you your lunch?
Good question, JD.
I was unaware one needed a reason to try and score a free meal. Are you... I'm just...
You have your own sandwiches.
Now I have yours. Mayo.
But you don't like mayo? Oh, I guess not.
Come on, JD, this is the perfect gift. You can't be driving 40 minutes on a scooter to go see your kid. Plus, this is a hybrid, so you'll save tons on gas.
I don't want your charity, Dan. Take it back.
No, it's yours.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, if it's mine, then I guess you won't care if I do this. Wow, this thing must have a fantastic crash test rating. Let me take a quick breather.
JD, I enjoy a demonstration of your lack of physical strength as much as the next guy, but what's your problem?
Dan, you come here with your new job and your new house and you give me a car?
So what?
Don't say it. You're supposed to be the loser, not me. Clearly, I loosened it. And then Dan said the last thing I ever expected to hear from him.
You know what, JD? You need to grow up.
Do you think I need to grow up?
Wow. You dream your whole life about that one moment, and when it finally comes, you're just not ready for it. Here goes.
The answer is a sincere, emphatic, 100% definitive, never been so sure of anything in my life, unequivocal yes. And the fact that you came to me means everybody else thinks so too. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You don't think I need to grow up, do you, Turk?
Definitely.
That means a lot coming from a guy who painted his head like some sort of sports ball.
Buddy, and one thing I love about hanging out with you is that we get to do stuff like this, you know, but when you leave, I go back to being a husband and a father, which means paying bills, giving my daughter a bath, and budgeting with Carla so one day we can buy a house. But have you even baby-proofed your apartment or learned how to change a diaper?
Aren't there instructions on the box?
Have you seen the baby since Kim took him home?
No.
All right, so you tell me, do you think you need to grow up? Hey.
Hey.
Want to see the dance again? Yep.
Actually, Dan, I was wondering if maybe you wanted to go over to Kim's with me and meet my son.
Yeah. That'd be great. You know, JD, you were the one who told me to get my life together in the first place.
But I never thought you'd do it.
Oh, that's a lovely sentiment.
I'm happy for you, Dan.
You don't know how to turn it on, do you?
No idea. I pushed it from the parking spot back there.
Okay, well, you see this button?
Yeah, I discovered that's the stereo.
I think if you push this up,
Pretty clearly a vent. It's hard to own up to your shortcomings. As for me, I always assumed growing up happened automatically as you got older. But it's really something you have to choose to do. See you tomorrow, Sam, I promise.
night, buddy.
I guess I feel like I'm finally on my way.
There's much more we would like to say about this, but it is difficult to explain, especially since you are spiritually dull and don't seem to listen. You have been believers so long now that you ought to be teaching others. Instead, you need someone to teach you again the basic things about God's Word. You are like babies who need milk and cannot eat solid food. For someone who lives on milk is still an infant and does not know how to do what is right. Hebrews 5, verses 11 through 13.